This is the KTM 790 Adventure R, and in this video we're going to do a full and thorough review. It retails in the UK at £10,999 and it's got 88 Newton meters of torque and 95 brake horsepower. So that's from a 790, and on the road you can really feel that power. The KTM has a 20-litre fuel tank, and the fuel tank literally is all of this down to here, and it's designed to give as low a centre of gravity as possible, so you haven't got too much bulk up top, and you get about 67 miles per gallon out of it. So the range on a 20-litre tank is 279 miles or 450 kilometres, which is phenomenal. It's got a 6-speed gearbox and a power assist clutch, which makes a lighter feel on the clutch lever, but when you decelerate hard and change down off-road, it stops that wheel sort of locking up and getting that chatter you get, so it sort of assists in that to make a smoother braking transition. The service intervals on this is 15,000 miles, which is very, very good, so you could do a lot of riding in a year to achieve that amount of mileage. You also have a quick shifter option on this, which allows for clutchless gear changes, which are lightning fast. It comes with this very useful rack at the back, and it's perfect for attaching bits and pieces with bungee cords. You've got lots of places to clip things to, so I really like that. You've got rear seat pegs for a rear passenger if you ever need to take anyone with you. The mirrors are very good, rearward visibility is very good, and I can see past my shoulders. The seat is quite high, that's one of the first things you notice on it, but being 6'3", I find that just fine. It's 880 millimeters or 34 inches tall. Sitting on the bike, it feels kind of short, and the handlebars for me, I'd like them a little higher, so I would change those personally, but it depends on your height and what have you. If you were sort of 5'10" to 6 feet tall, it'll probably be perfect. Anything above 6 foot tall, I would just say the handlebars would be a bit higher, but then you get used to it. Again, if you come off a different bike onto something else, it always feels a bit different at first. Now, riding this on the road, it's ever so powerful, and you can accelerate absolutely blindingly fast. It's a very quick motorcycle, so as a road bike it's wonderful. If you only ever used it on the road, you'd be very happy with it, but this does have some serious off-road ability. You've got white power suspension, 9.4 inches of travel front and rear, and it's fully adjustable. You've got a monoshock at the rear and the adjustable suspension at the front, manually adjustable, and off-road it's very good indeed. Now, cruising on the motorway, let's say 70 miles per hour in 6th gear, this is doing about 4,400 RPM. So for long distance riding, it's perfectly comfortable. If you wanted an adventure bike for very long distance riding, say through countries or through states in America, through the desert, and miles of road use, you'd probably be better off with the higher capacity, the 1.2 litre or the 1200 versions, because obviously they'll be a little bit more relaxed on the road. But as soon as you get off the road, this comes into its own, because I would say this is the benchmark for adventure bikes. This is the best off-road adventure bike money can buy, and seriously, this is the one to go for if you want your adventure to be more about the off-road and getting out into the open spaces and coming to see some cows or whatever you want to do. You can get off the beaten track with this bike and it will take you anywhere. The 790 weighs 189 kilograms dry, so plus the fuel, which is quite light for an adventure bike. Lots of adventure bikes are plus 200 kilograms. and being off-road, you don't want weight. So this is one of the lightest adventure bikes, apart from the smaller ones, but many of the smaller ones are not really built for off-road use so much. There's so many adventure bikes out there that are really jumped up road bikes that have sort of bigger suspension and what have you, but they're not really decent off-road bikes. But KTM make the best off-road bikes in the world, and this is, as I said before, the benchmark of all off-road riding in adventure bikes, because nothing comes close to it. You've got the Yamaha 10 Aries, this is better. You have got the Triumph, what do they call, Tigers? This eclipses every Triumph. This is the best off-road adventure bike money can buy. Now this has got ABS and cornering ABS, which in road mode means that when the bike's leant over in a corner, it will sort of intervene if the back wheel's slipping, if you're braking in a corner. And likewise the traction control, it intervenes just as much as necessary and ever so quickly, so that if you're powering around a corner and the back wheel starts to slip, it'll cut in. On the off-road setting, now you've got various settings on this motorcycle, which we'll go into, but on the off-road setting it allows wheel slippage. So think of a speedway rider when they're going around the corners and the back's sliding. It allows you to slip the wheels like that, and it allows the front to come up and wheelie over obstacles, whereas in the road mode it won't let the bike wheelie. Okay, so when you turn the key it says ready to race, and you have to wait for that to disappear before you start anything. Let's just go through the settings quickly. If you press set on the left handlebar, it says ride mode. That's what we're interested in today. So we press set again, and as you can see, we're in the off-road mode, and we can scroll up and down and press select to select the different modes. So if I press select, I can select rain. If I go up, press street, I can press set and select the street. And the different modes allow for different engine mapping and ABS control and what have you for the different situations you may find yourself in. And on the rally setting, that enables you to do more personalised control, if you like, and it opens it up to a little bit more power off-road. But on the normal off-road setting, which I've been riding in down this farm track here, it reduces the power somewhat, so that you're not sort of pulling out 95 brake horsepower, which you don't need in many off-road situations. So the KTM's got lots of good protection here. If you look underneath, you've got the skid plate, which is aluminium, and you've got another one here made out of hard plastic, and it's a well protected bike in off-road situations. It's got the hand guards here as well, of course, and you've got a bit of a fairing which pushes a little bit of the wind over your head, not a lot, but enough that you've got something to sort of push the wind over and duck down if you need to. The handlebars feel fairly narrow to me personally. I'm just used to slightly wider bars, but they're probably a good compromise for road riding when you're in between traffic and what have you, and for off-road riding. But as I said, I prefer them a little bit wider myself, but that's just nitpicking. The seat on the 790 Adventure R is relatively flat. You've got a little bit of a scoop out here, but not very much, and it steps up slightly just for the passenger seat. But on the whole, it's a seat that allows a lot of movement. And I've kind of got a rule of thumb guide to adventure bikes. The more scooped out the seat, the worse it's going to be off-road, because you need freedom of movement forwards and backwards to be able to ride properly off-road. So if you look at that, and obviously the bigger the engine, it's more heavy, so the weight's a big factor. So with this being 189 kilos and with the power it's got, it makes a very decent off-road bike that's not too heavy. So our verdict on the KTM 790 Adventure R: it's a phenomenal adventure bike. It's amazing on the road, extremely quick, and it handles very nicely. It's very nimble, and you can chuck it around. Off-road, it's the best in all, as I said, of all adventure bikes. I was going to say best in its class. It's the best adventure bike off-road, no doubt. So it's the one to go for if you are serious about going somewhere in the countryside and getting off the beaten track. So full marks for the KTM. I would definitely recommend it. Go and buy one. Now the KTM comes as standard with the Metzeler Karoo 3 tyres, which are a nice compromise tyre with enough knobbliness to be good in the wet and slippery stuff, but also very good on the road too. So don't forget to leave a comment. We'd like to know what you think of the KTM 790 Adventure R. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out our Teespring t-shirt store, link below. We've got lots of Mr. Darcy and the Old Man merchandise, and some is branded with our name, some isn't.